Hello and welcome back to Sports Tever Talk. I'm your host, Elijah Loyola. Today we move on to the final team in the NFC South, which are the New Orleans Saints. The Saints were the worst team in the division last year, but don't take that for granted. The Saints defense drastically improved from last year to this year and are now looking forward to improve themselves even further. However, they did lose a lot of players in the free agency market. But there is something to look forward to on the offensive side, especially with quarterback Tyler Shough. Let's take a look at what the Saints did in the free agent market to address the losses of their team. For the New Orleans Saints, the free agent market hasn't been the greatest for them, but yet they were able to bring in some quality players to help improve their own roster. Starting on the offense, they were able to bring in running back Ty Chandler and Travis Etienne, who signed a 4-year, $52 million contract. With these two running backs, including Alvin Kamara, Tyler Shough has now two safety blankets for him to use, and he does find another weapon in tight end Noah Fant to throw to play alongside Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill. They did sign a guard in David Edwards to help improve the offensive line to steer away from both the pass rush of all the other teams. As for their defense, they did bring in defensive lineman John Ridgeway, linebacker Kaden Elliss, who returns to the Saints on a 3-year, $33 million contract, as well as re-signing Julian Blackmon and Terrell Burgess to the secondary. There's no doubt in my mind that head coach Kellen Moore can further improve the play of quarterback Tyler Shough with all the players he currently has on the roster before the draft. But the main focus for the Saints is to work on that defense. Quite frankly, the Saints lost probably their best three defensive players in Demario Davis, who signed with the Jets, Alontae Taylor, who signed with the Titans, and edge rusher Cam Jordan, who still remains a free agent to this day, and we don't know if the Saints would bring him back or not. But going to the draft, the Saints have a lot of positions to address, and quite frankly, they might be looking at drafting a lot of defensive players. So let's take a look at the mock draft that I've set up for the Saints to ensure the success and development for Tyler Shough. Looking at the mock draft for the Saints, they originally had 8 draft picks, but I have them giving up 2 of their picks to trade up in the 4th round. But let's start off in the 1st round where Jordan Tyson was selected first, giving the Saints and Tyler Shough another wide receiver option for him to use. And then in the second and 4th rounds, they would draft Brandon Siss, Josiah Trotter, and trade up for Jayshon Barham. All 3 of these players could address the necessary concerns of the players they lost in Taylor, Davis, and Jordan on the defensive schemes. They do bring in one offensive tackle in Jude Berry from Boston College as rotational depth for the tackle position. But for the last 2 picks, they head straight back to the defensive side, getting cornerback Charles Demings and defensive lineman Bryson Eason. With the amount of players that they've drafted on the defense, this would surely help recover the losses they had suffered and try to get back to improving their defense even further. The way I see it for the Saints is pretty much clear. They've done a lot to fix the offense through free agency, but they can't pass up on a receiver like Jordan Tyson, who would really help expand the offense for Tyler Shough, not to mention bringing in an offensive tackle. But the main focus for the Saints was definitely on the defense, especially for this amount of loss they suffered. And again, this division is weak, but loaded with offensive talent across the board for the rest of these teams. So defense is a big issue that the Saints have to be looking forward to. In any case, let's talk about some of these players for the Saints. And let's start off with Jordan Tyson. In this draft class, Jordan Tyson has emerged as a number 1 consensus wide receiver, as a skilled, detailed, and nuanced receiver to be the primary target for any NFL offense. Standing at 6'2", 203 pounds, he shows off with his elite route running, having advanced timing, body control, and strong techniques. He can also create separation with his footwork and angles, while having exceptional ball skills and making difficult high point catches downfield. He's also very dangerous with the ball after the catch, having a 14.4 yards per reception in his career, showing that he can make explosive plays. His versatility is second to none in this draft class, having be able to play in the slot, in the boundary, and as a deep threat while excelling in option and screen routes. This pick makes a lot of sense for the Saints as they can use this pick as the only pick on offense to help bring more offensive firepower to play alongside Chris Olave and others, while the rest of the picks can be used for defense to help balance out the Saints for star power. The selection of Brandon Siss in the second round also makes a lot of sense for the Saints to address the cornerback position in losing Alontae Taylor. Siss, being 5'11", 189 pounds, is a rising prospect in this draft that brings value and experience to the defensive back group. He has natural coverage ability with good instincts and can close quickly at the catch point. He also brings some good versatility to play both outside and nickel while having great speed and physicality. He does also bring excellent coverage skills to share amongst his teammates and strong ball production while creating turnovers through interceptions or forced fumbles. Brandon Siss will definitely help out in a much improved Saints secondary, especially with how things have improved with Brandon Staley at the helm. The Saints will certainly need to find a lot of help. Now that there's no big wide receiver in this draft class, having an undersized corner is not the worst thing for the Saints to draft, but having a playmaker at that spot is definitely needed. Finally, the last player I want to talk about is inside linebacker Josiah Trotter out of Missouri. Josiah Trotter, being a 6'2", 237-pound linebacker, is one of the most physical and instinctive prospects in this draft class, carrying on the legacy of both his dad, who played in the NFL, and his brother, who is currently on the Philadelphia Eagles. He is an elite run game processor with supercomputer diagnostic-like speed, and also has heavy hands that can generate immediate separation, while also having explosive acceleration and downhill bursts that help generate hard hits. He has a high motor to help him make pursuit plays. He's also slippery when navigating through his blocks, showing lateral agility to exchange gaps and mirror running backs, and is a much reliable tackler with quality strength and arm lengths to help him out. This might be the next version of Demario Davis to help control the middle of the field. With the Saints really working around this, the linebacker unit is definitely the most important part of this defense that can surely help them control the game for the Saints. Going forward, I would really like the Saints to go this kind of draft path because this would definitely address the much needed defensive concerns while getting another star-studded player on the offensive side to help develop Tyler Shough. For me, Kellen Moore's job is not in danger if the Saints were to have another losing season. Last year, that might have been the case, but in my opinion, it's not. They showed a lot of improvement between the defense and Tyler Shough, and they can improve that further on into this year. And who knows, with how the rest of the division may be, the Saints definitely have a shot at winning the division title for the first time since 2020. So for my expectation is that no matter what the season goes, depending on how the division is, focus on development. Focus on bringing Tyler Shough to be a top quarterback for their team and have the defense be as consistent as they were last season. If doing so, then you could win at least 8 games, maybe maximum 10, and that might be enough for them to win the division, which would really help boost the morale of the team and Kellen Moore's position. That's all the time for today. Thank you so much for watching Sports Tavern Talk. Please leave a like and a comment in the video with your thoughts, and make sure to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and on X. And as always, I will see you next time.